Well, just hours after President Trump's fire and fury comment, North Korea has responded to that with a new threat, saying it is examining a plan to strike the American territory of Guam. Shea Cotton is a research associate at the James Martin Center for Nonproliferation Studies. He joins us from Monterey, California. Mr. Cotton, I'd like first to get your reaction to what you're hearing today.
Well, it's definitely a sign that that things are escalating pretty quickly on the peninsula. Trump's comments have definitely were definitely quite irresponsible and have not done anything to help the situation.
The president warns North Korea that its threats to the United States will be met with fire and fury the like the world has never seen. What comes to your mind as to how the president is likely to mean by that?
That's the thing. I'm not exactly sure what he meant by that. The U.S. has always retained the right to defend itself and to use military action against North Korea if it feels like North Korea is about to attack the United States or has attacked the United States. What the United States has never done is threaten military action simply in response to North Korean rhetoric. And that's what Donald Trump did this afternoon. And that threat is not likely to be, is not really a credible threat and is really just going to erode U.S. credibility, which will be very important when the United States does need to make a credible threat about, or does really need to go and draw a red line.
So what would be the appropriate response, if not this one?
Well, what really needs to happen is the U.S. and North Korea need to both work to de-escalate the situation and try and smooth things out and hopefully eventually work towards some sort of diplomatic talks. What happened today was not a step in that direction. It was a step in the opposite direction.
Nonetheless, though, I mean, there have been previous attempts, at least half a dozen attempts, to get talks going with North Korea. North Korea doesn't want to be a part of those talks. So what happens? I mean, if you are trying to work things out with someone who will not cooperate or even come to the table to talk, what other options are available, in your view?
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. In cases where that happens, if diplomacy won't work, then what the U.S. Needs to do is work with its regional allies, South Korea and Japan, and needs to work to contain and deter North Korea. That's what the U.S. has been working to do for a little while. And given that there hasn't been a major conflict on the Korean Peninsula since the Korean War, the U.S. has been successful at it. Really, that's the main option that the U.S. has left.
I want to pick up on that point in the 30 seconds that we have left. How much do you think the new UN sanctions that were just voted on, that will, they predict, shave a third off of what North Korea earns from its exports each year? How likely is it they will affect North Korea's ability to continue developing its missile program?
North Korea's missile program is a matter of political will. Not so much these sanctions won't really affect that. Furthermore, these sanctions, to have that effect, need to be fully implemented by all parties involved.
And enforced.
China and Russia, in addition to just the United States and its allies. Yeah. And it's difficult to imagine that these sanctions will be fully implemented by all the countries across the world.
Shea Cotton, a research associate at the James Martin Center for Nonproliferation Studies. Mr. Cotton, thanks very much for your thoughts.
Thank you.